What is going on, everybody? Happy holidays. We're making a holiday card using HTML and CSS. You could import it to any of your web pages. It's pretty versatile, so you can use it in a variety of different settings. And even if you don't want to use it as a greeting card at all, you can use it for a portfolio where you reveal a picture and then show some text about it with a reflection. Do a lot of different things. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to put this whole entire CSS and HTML all into the same document. So just an internal embedded CSS. We will start with the body section for the HTML. These things up here just regular headings. You know, we have our head and our body. It's all inside the HTML. I have a title. I'm just calling it card example. Medicare set UTF-8. Nothing too crazy there for that. All right. So if you need more time, you can pause that, and then we'll go ahead and we'll start the coding. So we can begin with a div class. I'll close it down here, and then I want to give this a class is equal to, and I'll just call it card display. And card display is just something we're going to use to show this card. So if you like this, you can just copy this chunk of code and put it into any other div or semantic page element that you may have with your web page. In that div class of card display, we're going to place another div. And we will give this one a class of card. This will be for the actual card of our web page. And then in this, we'll have 3 more divs. So one of them is here. And we'll close div. And this one here is going to have a class of, we can call it page 3. And in the page 3, we'll put in a div with a class of message. And right under that, we will close our div. And then inside that, we actually can just use some text here. So we'll put something in here, maybe like we could go with H2 and we'll put something in here like dear friends. And then underneath that, we'll put in a paragraph. I just put some in here along the lines of, we hope you have a great holiday. Nothing too fancy for this. It's just for demo purposes. And then we have the closing of that div, the closing of that div. And then we are ready for our next div that is nested in here. And with this div, we can give a class is equal to page 2. So we're kind of working backwards with our HTML alignment on this. And in our page 2, we will only have one thing in there, and it's just going to be an image. So we'll go image and src is equal to, and if I look over here, I have a couple of pictures. The one I'm going to use for this picture is cookies. So since this is not in an images folder or anything, they're all nested in the same folder, I can just simply type in the name of the picture, which is cookies.jpg. All right, and then last but not least, for our HTML, we can put in one final div. And this one will have a class, and if you haven't guessed already, is class is equal to page 1. We have page 1, page 2, page 3. And in this one here, we will put in a H1. And here we can put in something like happy holidays. And you know what? Originally, I was going to go with this cookies picture, but then I got to thinking I did want to incorporate a logo with this. I forgot. So sorry to make you switch this one thing on here. I will switch that from cookies.jpg to logo. And I believe that is a PNG. So logo dot PNG. All right, so I can save my progress here, and it's not going to look like anything fun when we see this. It looks nothing like a business card or a holiday card or anything like that. But that's all right, because most of the work we're going to do is with our styling. All right. So let's go back here to the top of this, and in the head section, we have a few things that we need to place in here. One of them is going to be our text. So I did find a few typefaces on Google Fonts that I would like to embed into this. So I do have other tutorials on that, and you can use any kind of font you want. You don't actually have to do this part if you don't want to, but I'm going to copy this right here, and then I can put this anywhere up here in the head. So I'll place it right underneath there, and it is a pretty large chunk there, but I do have a few typefaces that I want to use with that. So it'll show you the link, and it'll show you the rel links and the href links and all that. Those are free to use on Google Fonts. So I'll keep that handy there so you can kind of see it as you're following along, and we can also see what our image files are up here. Also in the head section, we want to include our style. And again, you could put this in your own separate CSS file, but just to make it a little easier and a little faster, I'll go all in one document here on this. So with that, we have our style in there. The first thing that I usually like to do the styling from biggest elements to smallest, and then go from top to bottom. So here in the style, the first thing with the biggest element, it's going to be this card display. Because that is a class, I need to go dot card display, and I'll use my fancy brackets in there for this. And I want to put in background hyphen image, and I'm actually not going to use an image in this. I'm going to use a gradient. So I'll go radial hyphen gradient. You certainly could use a texture for a background if you want, but I kind of like to do this with a lot of these types of designs. So I'll go #EF, or sorry, not EF. What do I want to do? F7, 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 and then $DD. And that's in parentheses there. Then I follow it with my semicolon. All right, and then underneath that, I want to go background hyphen size is going to be cover. And I want I'll go width is going to be 100%, and height is going to be 100 VH, and perspective is going to be 1200 px, and display is flex, and justify hyphen content is going to be center, and align items is going to be center as well. And then for the font hyphen family, what I want to do for this, I'm going to go, I'm actually just going to leave it blank for right now. That'll be fine, as I can worry about those later. All right. So there's for the start of this. Now, if I open up my page now, you can kind of see we have this. It almost looks all gray, but if you notice real closely, it's a little bit lighter in the middle than it is on the outside. And again, if you would rather use an image, you can certainly do that also. All right, so that's the first part for the display. The next largest element, I would say, would be the card itself. It is a div with a class of cards, so we'll go dot card. And I want to go transform hyphen style is preserve 3D, and position will be relative, and height is going to be 200 px, and cursor is going to be pointer. All right, I'll save that. Open this up again. See how we're doing on here. So when I do move my cursor over this, it does switch to the hand on there pointing, what I wanted to go with. And then underneath that, a part of the card, but the different elements, obviously, we have dot page 1, and dot page 2, and dot page 3. These are going to share a lot of similar characteristics, so we can just put them all there together. And we'll go transform hyphen style preserve 3D, and transform hyphen origin will be left center, and transition transform 0.5 seconds ease in out box shadow 0.5s ease in out, and a semicolon. All right, so let me double check, make sure I have that right. Transform 0.5 out, comma, box shadow. All right. Then we have position is absolute. Width is 120 px. Height is 100%. Top is 0. Left is 0. And background hyphen color is # FFF. And padding 40 px. All right. Again, with a lot of these are just kind of some values I've played around with to fine tune this a little bit. You can change these up depending on what you're trying to look for with yours. All right, so now some things here that are specific for page 1. So dot page 1, we're going to go background hyphen image, And this one I am going to use an image. So URL and then parentheses and my single quotes here. And I'm going to use this cover picture that I have in here. This is just free picture I found on Unsplash. You can incorporate your own pictures, obviously, is probably what you'll do when you create this for your own. You can use it kind of like a template for that. And we'll type in here page 1 graphic. Or no, I'm sorry. Page 1 graphic. Sheesh. Cover.jpg. And then after that, I'm going to put my semicolon there. And then I will go background hyphen size. It's going to be cover. Let's stop page 1, background image, cover.jpg. All right. Then we can go down here and go to page 2. Page 2, we'll go background hyphen image, URL. And then this one's going to be my cookies picture. The one I was thinking about putting on the inside and then decided not to. So I'll go cookies .jpg. Then at the end of that, we have our semicolon. And this one also will be background hyphen size cover. All right, and then down a few here. Now for our hovering effects, we want to go card :hover space page 1. And in here, we'll go transform, and we want to use rotate Y minus 160 degrees and semicolon on there. And then I'm going to go box hyphen shadow is going to be 0 space 0.5 em space 0.5 em space 0 space RGBA. We're going to go 0 0 0 0.4 with the semicolon. All right, so this here allows us to hover it. It's going to transform the object. And then this is our shadow underneath it as it's moving. And we have 0 for those RGBA. All we're doing is we're just trying to make it be black, like a black shadow. And the 0.4 is the opacity. If you have a pattern on your background instead of the gray like I have, you might need to adjust this to be a higher or lower percentage on there. So just something to keep in mind, that you might play around with that a little bit more depending on how yours looks. I'm going to copy that section. I'm going to paste it underneath. And then I can, on the second one, switch it to page 2. All right. And then I can actually remove this at the bottom for page 2. I don't need that. But I do need to change this to be just one smaller than the card one. So I'll go minus 159. All right. And then underneath that, I'm going to paste again, and then this time I'll switch this to page 3. And this one needs to be a lot less because it's not opening very far. So we'll go minus 20 degrees. And then 0.5, 0.5. All right, so that looks good. And that to work pretty nice, I think. All right, so now going underneath, we have our text and everything. So we do have an H1 on our page 1. We can go ahead and style that at this time. And then I need to look here at my fonts. So the ones that I'm using, one of them was called Luckiest Guy. So I'm going to copy that right there. And then here I can go fonts hyphen family. Oh, I already had font hyphen family selected. So I didn't put that there. And then I'll paste that in there. And we have our text in there like that. So that looks good. There might be some things I might need to change with that H1 later, but I can worry about that at another time. I'll see how it looks as it. Okay, then underneath that, I need to go dot. Yep, we have one for message. Wasn't sure what we called it there for a second. Dot message. And I'm going to go margin hyphen top is going to be 30px. And the color is going to be, we'll just say # FFF. All right. And then underneath that, we can go to our H2, which we have. And our H2 is going to be the same font family. But then I think I do want to have my paragraph. I want that one to be my Mountains of Christmas font or typeface. All right. That looks good. And then the last part, I should style my image. IMG. And this was my logo that we had put in there. The other ones were background images. So we'll go margin hyphen top 60px. Width is going to be 90px. And then we'll go transform scale x parentheses -1. All right. And then we have this closed out right here. This is all found in the style. All right, moment of truth. So I'm going to save this. Opening this in here, I need to switch my text around a little bit. So it got these two mixed around. So I need to move this color of FFF from the message, and I need to actually put that up here into the H1. So H1 was on the front. So now if I refresh my page, now happy holidays, and I open it up and I have my text in there. Hopefully it's something you'll find useful or at least fun to play with. And I appreciate you watching, and we will hopefully catch you again on another tutorial video.